So when somebody, I get so many calls and emails and texts, and every single day I'm approached by not just chiropractors but osteopaths, variety of different types of providers out there, healthcare providers that have questions, and they always say, how can you manage something such as this? How are you pulling this off? How can you have all these different departments, all these different staff members, and how do you function? How are you accomplishing to do what you're doing? And you know, I have to be quite honest with every single person who reaches out to me. And when I had previous softwares, they weren't as robust enough. They did not have the capacity nor the intellectual back behind the scenes power to control something as large as this. So when your visions are big and your dreams are big, you have to have something. You have to have a software that backs you. You have to have systems behind you that backs you and provides you the necessary tools. But not having those with the software, basically it is our engine. When people say, how can you manage the people, the schedules, the billing, how can you manage every different facet of your facility, you have to, it all boils down to the most robust system that's available out there today. And I was stuck with Eclipse for a very long time, and it kind of met our needs for probably the first few years in practice. And even at that, I didn't even realize, you know, when patients said, I never knew how good really feels. You know, I didn't even realize how good it could really be with softwares until I got to the Genesis product. And then when I started using Genesis, then I realized, wait a minute, why in the world did I hold on to Eclipse for so long? It wasn't meeting our needs in any capacity. It was just comfortable. It was what we were used to. It was routine. It was, oh, don't give me one more thing to do. And if I could make one business decision over, that would be my business decision that I would like to do over if I could, but I can't. And I'm going to tell you all the reasons why. Number one, everybody who goes to work every day, they might be as passionate as we are at changing lives, and they might feel like this is what I want to do every day, but then they just get caught up in the minutia of the day. And what does that include? Your team. Sometimes you could fire up and you can ignite your team and they are coasting and you're loving life, and then all of a sudden, boom, it hits a crash. Something breaks. There's always something that can come up with your team. And for us, it was always comparing themselves to one another. Me going home at night and putting my head down on the pillow going, did Sally do this? Did this get done? Does this need to get done? Oh, is this project complete? Where are we at with this? All these questions that were buried in my head, and I couldn't turn it off. And so I was jeopardizing my sleep. My quality of life was impacted because I didn't know what was getting done, what didn't get done. You know, and if you ask my husband Jason, and a lot of people know his personality, he would say, do I need to know? He's like, what, do I need to know this? Well, of course we need to know this, because we can all feel it and sense it. We're all very intuitive, and we can know, wait, there's something going wrong. I'm not quite sure what it is. I can't put my finger on it, but is it my no-shows? Is it my collections? Is it my cash collections? Is it my payment plan systems that are being set up? Is there a CPT code that's running into a problem with a particular insurance company? Is it what? Is it that the chart didn't get completed? Is it the forms didn't get completed? Did the upload of the patient information not get completed? Did that, making sure that the patient, everything they signed up for, did it get successfully completed? There's so many facets to when that patient walks in the door, and there really is no way to manage all of that other information with other softwares. I visited clinics. I went down to visit my close friends that are down in Denver. I observed for an entire day trying to find software that can actually satisfy and meet all of these different expectations. And I almost started to believe there wasn't. I was almost like, there really isn't anything that can handle this type of facility. And I was almost on the crusade of merging 3 different softwares. I was going to use 3 different systems to be my solutions. This one is good in this respect, this one is good in this respect. And then I ran into Brian Capra at a seminar, and we started talking, and I really started exploring his software. And I actually not only like me, I would drive to Denver and spend a day in someone's office. I flew to Naples. I was like, well, I'm going to take my sister, who's my director of operations, and we're going to go to Naples, and we're going to actually go into a practice and experience it from the patient, from the front desk. And it was an open door. They said, yep, go to the front desk, go to the back, go to the patient area, and they allowed me to see the entire functionality of the program, and I was blown away. We instantly started a relationship, and I have been working with the Genesis crew since then. And they are, I shouldn't say crew, they're an incredible team. They have an incredible team of people with a lot of knowledge, from programmers to people who understand systems and efficiencies, to coders, to billers, to all these different areas. And not only was I just working with Eclipse and I couldn't speak to anybody, tech support, they would tell me how to maybe fix something. But when I work with Genesis, we work to improve something. We work to change something, get it better, make it better. But already as it existed on the day one, I already loved it without any of the improvements. And I've been with them now since we went live, I believe it was October 26, 2012. That was our exact day that we decided to go live, and it has been amazing. And all I hear from my team, Debbie, who runs our finance department, she says, I can't stop salivating. We already still have it, but it's so exciting that we have this compared to what we had before. Our nightmares with our previous softwares were always such an accounting nightmare. It was a nightmare. We could never uncover anything. We'd spend hours and hours extracting data, plugging it on spreadsheets, trying to find the problems, and I could click one single button in Genesis and find my answer. I could identify something that's going wrong within the system instantly. My number one favorite part about the program is how I can look at productivity of my team. Doctors always call me up and say, how do you have such an amazing team? They're amazing, but now they're even more amazing. I know what they're doing, and I know how well they're doing based off of how the system manages their productivity. So some people say, I love my front desk girl. I love my office manager. She's been with me for 10 years. Well, great. How productive is she is my next question. You might love her because as chiropractors, our nature is we love. We love first. And so, yeah, that might be your nature that you love her, but how productive is she? And how is she productive in comparison to her peers? So with an office like ours where we have 22 employees, I know who's doing what, who's not doing what, how much they got done. I know how much they got done a month ago versus this month. I could see how they're excelling in their level of productivity. I could see all of these different things taking place, and I could do it like I was last week. I was in Key West, Duck Key. We went down to swim with the dolphins. And I was away for 10 solid days between Disney World and messing around at the Dolphin Research Center with our kids and dolphins. And all I had to do was grab my iPhone, and I could look in my iPhone and I could see exactly what the team was doing. I could see who was slacking while I was away and who wasn't. And luckily I didn't see anybody slacking, which was nice. But they know as much as I know that I can watch them no matter where I'm at. I could be walking through the airport in DIA and glance at my phone and be like, I could see what Sabrina's doing at the front desk or not doing. I could see what my medical team is producing for the day. I have a bird's eye view at the click of a finger right in my little iPhone. I don't have to carry around my laptop and look for this data. It's right there. And that's probably my number one. And if you can't detect my excitement, I probably can't express it enough, because my only headache in life was not seeing what anybody was doing. I could see it on the surface, but it's like we tell the patients, what's under the hood? What's underneath? What's your spine look like? What's under the hood with each employee? Do you actually know? Do you actually know how they pair up against one another? And we have this macro system within Genesis that they've helped us create, where all of them get the same quantity. So you can't say, my workload is bigger than Sally, my workload is bigger than Robert, my workload is bigger than Austin. That's impossible. You have the same workload, and who's actually getting through their workload. And it's very visible. So productivity and measuring it and getting away from the reality that you're trying to figure out, oh, we've got a personality conflict. You're going to remove the whole he said, she said thing. That is out the door. It's not a reality, at least not in our world anymore. And I can't even tell you that there's any product on the market that can even come close to doing that. And if someone thinks there's one out there, let me know, because I've never seen it, and I've looked at hundreds. We were looking at software programs that are offered in hospital, and we were trying to compare them to Genesis when we were doing our analysis. My next exciting feature is reporting. Everyone who knows me, I'm a detail-oriented person. I like to know what's under the hood to the tiniest degree of measurement. I want to know what our statistics look like on a regular basis. Somebody once who came to my seminar says, "Sandy, do you measure the amount of toilet paper that's utilized in your building? This is how much of a measurement freak I am." I like predictability. I like projections. I like to know what the future is going to give me. I don't like to live in this dark hole and not know what's going to appear in August or what's going to appear in September. I want to know that I know what's happening. And that's what the program allows me. On the home screen, you get all these graphs that you can look at and bar charts and radars, and you can get an idea just at a quick glance, once again, right off my iPhone, what are we doing and what are we not doing. I can see things that I could never see before. We were using a Scantron system for documentation, and I wouldn't know whether the scans got scanned, whether they got uploaded, whether they were in there or not in there. I could click one button, Genesis, and I can see what got billed, what didn't get signed off on. I can get in there and see which provider hasn't completed their, clinical charting. I could also see who, my inventory guy, I could see he does inventory for us. I could look at my POS system instantly, and I could also see what are my #1 sellers. I could never see that before. I used to use like 4 crazy spreadsheets because Eclipse had no POS system, so that was very frustrating for me to know that I carry a large amount of inventory. We do a lot of medical weight loss. We weigh in about 75 patients a week. So imagine if 75 people are buying 3 products a week, how are you going to manage that? And if you don't have a robust POS system, you're not going to manage it. You're going to have what we had before we had Genesis. We had sting operations in here with the police because we had theft. We were losing $6,000 on a regular basis, almost every other week, that we had to call the police in to figure out how we were being robbed because we were trying to investigate it and we couldn't figure it out. Unfortunately for us, we discovered it was team members. And that was a heartbreaking moment, but you know what? Anything can happen to anybody. Not going to hold on to that story. It was that story. The new story is that could never happen in this office. If someone tried to manipulate and touch quantity of inventory, I could see it. It's logged. I could see everything that's going on with our product. But most importantly, all the issues that we had. Oh, we're out. And then the dieter's freaking out because the one product that they're holding on to that's like their survival to continue on their weight loss journey, we're out of. And now they're going crazy. And now we've got issues that we shouldn't have. So when we see inventory dropping, I get an instant ticket. The whole team does. In the morning, there's an alert that says that we're below par. And if we're below par, we know what to order. And people say, what's a par? Par is what you know. When you get down to this number, you need to order. And we set different pars based off of data that we pulled from Genesis. It tells us how many of that product that we sell each month. So right away we know if we sell 25, we sell 12 of the chocolate, and we sell, 50 of the vanilla, guess what your par is going to be? Your par is going to be higher on the vanilla because you're going to need to make sure you have a lot of that in-house. So we don't run out of product in this office. We used to. It was our old story. Our new story is we don't have the issues we used to have. We have a phenomenal inventory control in this office, and most importantly, I'm not getting robbed. So that always makes one less stress of the day. And yep, our police station's still across the street, but they're not in here doing CSI work trying to figure out how we were getting robbed. So that's a wonderful story, and I think a lot of people that are out there can relate to it because I get calls from doctors all the time. How do I know if someone's stealing? And I say, well, your system should be able to tell you that. And they say, well, my system can't. And I say, well, then you need a better system because trying to do what I did with spreadsheets failed. So I don't know any other answer than to say you need a product like Genesis that can provide the solution.